Hello and welcome back to part 3 to how to do whiteboard animation in Adobe Flash. So now we're going to dive into some advanced practices. So by now you should be able to create some draw-on style things, you should be able to create symbols, and you should know a little bit about how to animate within that symbol. So now I'm going to show you a project, a real project for a real client, and it's going to have some advanced techniques in it. So let's just dive in, and the first thing that I'm going to show you is how to lay out text. So I'm going to go to my Adobe Animate file, if it'll load here. And guess what? I got my Wacom back, so I am back in action. Let me turn down the volume here, if I can, so that you're not bothered by that noise. All right. All right, volume is down. So this is a file. So this draws on, and let's get to laying out text. Let's see here. All right. So when there's one line of text, it's pretty simple, right? It's just straight. But when you have two lines, what's going on here? Little bug. Sometimes Flash has bugs. All right. Now, when you have two lines of text, number one, you could break it apart, or if you go into Windows Properties, I kind of like the spacing to be a little bit closer than that. So maybe 1 point, I think right about there. Okay, so make the spacing a little bit closer. Now, you could either select it by hand and make it line up. First of all, I like text being all caps. And now a default font I like is Comic Sans and bold. There's other ones. And I can even show you how to do custom hand fonts. But for the simplest way, just use Comic Sans or another font that you like. And anyway, so the first principle is have it line up so that the second line lines up to the left and right of the top line. And the second rule is highlighting keywords that you want to highlight in your animation. So most whiteboard animations are explainer videos, right? And so they're teaching a concept. So what you have to do is you have to come up with words, if they're not already there, that simplify the idea. Okay? And it just depends. It's kind of up to your discretion what word you emphasized. Perhaps the client will think otherwise. But you kind of have to make a lot of decisions of, okay, how can I best simplify this idea in a line or two of text? All right, so this is lend out too much money and can't pay it back. It's explaining how banks go into default. So maybe the key word that I want to emphasize is can't. So there's a couple ways to emphasize a word. The first basic way is to select it and then change its color, right? So I like using this red over here. There's kind of three columns, three blocks of colors, three column blocks of colors. I like this red that's in the top left of the third column. I like that red. The other color I like is, let's see here, what blue do I like? I believe it's this blue. So the second column over, and it's kind of the blue in the middle. Yeah, I like that blue. So I mostly stick to those two colors when I'm accenting whiteboard animation. So I use black and white, a few shades of gray, and then I use the red and blue. Obviously, you can use any color you want. Those are just the colors that I've come to like, and I've been able to do plenty with those. Okay, so maybe I want to emphasize that word with just a color. The other way to emphasize it is just to make it bigger, right? So let's pressing Control Z to undo it. Now we're gonna have to break this text apart eventually anyway, so I'm gonna break it apart right now. Control B, and then I can just do it one level if I want, so that I can just select that. So maybe I just want to emphasize that word. And I can put them closer. All right, now here's another cool tool that you're going to really like. It's called Expand. Okay, now I'm going to select this can't, and I'm going to break it apart until it can't break apart anymore, so that it's pure shapes. And I'm gonna bring it over here so that I won't get distracted by the other text. Now let's say I want this text even more bold, but I can't do it anymore. The text already has this bold effect, but I just want to make the text even bolder. So how would I do that? Well, go to Modify, go to Shape, and um, I believe it's this one, Expand Fill. Now this one I usually have as a keyboard shortcut. I would definitely do this as a keyboard shortcut. Now, this is such a cool option. You can make things thicker or thinner through this expand fill menu, or this effect. So the distance, this 1 pixel is gonna add 1 pixel of paint on the outside of every shape that I have selected. Or if I say inset, it'll subtract 1 pixel from from the edge. So let's just do expand and see what happens. Bam. So it bumped it up a little bit more. So that is such a handy tool. Make a shortcut for it so that you can just quickly, just press a keystroke and then bam, bam, it's bolded a little bit more the way you want it. Okay, so perhaps that's a solution that we want there. I personally like to use. I think just changing the color is a good way to emphasize the word very simply, so that it all lines up. I think that might look a little bit better. Change it back. I'm gonna keep stepping back, hitting Control Z until I get back to the to when it wasn't resized. All right, I'll just keep it there. Okay, so that's how to line up text. And obviously, I would select this all, create a symbol. I like naming text, just kind of a descriptive. I use the words from the text, so lend out, maybe. Yeah, that's what I'll name it. And then obviously, when I actually go in and do it, I'll break it all apart. I'll select my eraser and then go to my eraser and do that effect. But you guys already saw that in the last one. All right, so now, what else we got for you? Okay, now let me show you. In the first one, we just did a head, right? We did a drawing of a head. How do we do the drawing of an entire body? Well, I'm going to remember to go inside of a symbol. We're going to double click. Let's go inside this guy and see how I do it here. So basically, I have him broken apart into pieces, right? And each of these pieces, I have doing a draw on effect. So I can double click on these until I find its timeline where it draws on. Okay? So that's the basics of that. Now, let's say maybe I don't want to have all of his pieces draw on at the same time. For example, maybe I want to see his head draw on first, and then his chest, and then his arms, and then his legs and feet at the end. So how do I do that? Since they just start right here and they play. Well, what we need to do is we need to put the different body parts on different layers, and then we can stagger when they each start. So to do that, let's just do it by hand to begin with. So I am going to just select my head, hit Command or Control X to cut him. I'm going to say New Layer, and I'm going to just click on the layer above, and I'm going to hit Command V, paste. Wait a second, it pasted it all the way over here. Now remember, to paste, you got to do Control Shift V to paste it in the exact same spot where it was copied from. So in this technique, I'm gonna do the things on top first, the things that I want on the very top of all these things. So the head's on the top of everything. The next thing might be that hand. So I'm gonna cut, new layer, paste in place. I'll do his forearm, cut, new layer, paste in place. His bicep, actually his shoulder is on top of that, so I'll do that next. And then I'll do his bicep, new layer, then paste. Now let's say, oh, what if I accidentally put this shoulder, see, below his bicep? You see that? Well, all you need to do is just click on the layer and drag it up, and you can rearrange what order it's in. All right, now you might be thinking, oh man, this is taking a long time to have to cut, new layer, paste in place, and you'd be exactly right. Guess what? You can do a keyboard shortcut for a series of actions, and it's really easy. So this is how you do it. I highly suggest that you do this. Let's see if actually I can remember. Control. Oh, it's a window. That's right. So you go to Window, and then you go to History, I believe. Yes. So your History panel saves all of the major actions that you take. And yeah, it doesn't save everything, but it saves most major actions. So open the History window, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to just perform an action that we want to have saved. So what we're doing, the series of actions that we've been doing, is we're cutting, we're doing a new layer, and then we're going to paste it in place in that new layer. So let's do that. So let's just do it by hand, and you'll see the history window kind of save or record those actions. So I'm going to select an object. I'm going to hit Command X. See, it says cut. I'm going to hit new layer. Wow, it says new layer there. And I'm going to hit, without pressing anything else, I'm going to hit Control Shift V, and it pastes it in place. Okay? Now, in the history window, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the cut. I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm going to select new layer, and I'm going to select paste. You could also control click, just like you're selecting multiple items in a folder. But select all three of those, and on the bottom right, on the bottom right, there's a symbol. Let's see, what is this one? Copy. On the bottom right, the symbol that says Save Selected Steps as a Command. Okay, that's what we want to do. So click that, and we're going to name this Cut New Paste. Cut, new layer, paste, basically, right? Cut, new, paste. Okay, so that saves it as a command. Well, where do you find your... So we'll hit OK. So that's saved somewhere as a command. Well, where do you find that? Well, now it's going to be saved in your keyboard shortcuts. So just go to Modify. No, see here. Edit, Keyboard Shortcuts. Now my keyboard shortcuts won't show up because I'm on a laptop. It thinks it's on because I'm usually on a dual monitor. So it's showing up in a dual monitor somewhere that I don't have set up right here. But anyway, it'll show up in your keyboard shortcuts. So just there's a search bar in the keyboard shortcuts. Search for your command that you've named, cut, new, paste, and assign a keystroke to it. I liked doing something like Shift C, something like that. It's just really easy because I use it all the time to reorder, or sorry, to put each body part on its own layer. Okay, so let's say I've got this. I really wish I had that keyboard shortcut set up. I don't have it set up yet, so I'll just have to pain my way through this. All right. So let's say I want the head to draw on first, and then the chest and the rest later. So what's an easy way of having it start not at the beginning? Well, there's a really easy way. You hold down Control while hovering over the first keyframe, and then you just click and drag. It's as easy as that, and it moves the starting position of your keyframe. So now the chest and everything else that's on this layer 3, it won't start until frame 8. Now, working in this manner, here, let me move down these. Let me slide this down so I have a little bit more space in my timeline. Now, look, if you, without even looking at my animation at the bottom, if I have put everything in the right order, like if I've put the first things on top that I want on top, then I can leave that there, and I can just kind of start moving the second one a little bit, and the third one a little bit more, the fourth one over. You can see how easy it is to just stagger when different parts of it start. And if you want it to be a little staggered a little bit differently, feel free to change a couple of them back. I do this all the time, and this really makes it look a lot more professional and just believable. It makes it look more like a real hand-drawn whiteboard animation. But you can see, for example, see how this shoulder shows up, and then the chest goes over it. Perhaps I don't want that. Perhaps I want this shoulder to draw on after the chest. So then I can just easily, as I select that piece, I can see what layer it's on and then just move it over. All right, what else do I have for you guys? I'm going to make a part 4 that has special effects because I'm realizing there's a lot to go over. So we've gone over laying out text, coloring the text, and I've showed you how to offset the different parts. And anyway, on part 4, I'm going to show you how to do color effects, how to fade to white, the camera tool. Oh, awesome! It's a new tool, but it's been highly needed. And I'll probably show you how to add a hand drawing on the image. If you can hear, it's my daughter. It's bedtime. She's crying in her room, so I think I've woken her up. Anyways, thank you so much. I hope that was instructive, and I will see you guys next time.